Let's jump into some PLU sports. Over the weekend, DJ, your football team traveled down to Pacific, and your offense was tremendous. It had 445 yards, but it was a losing effort. You guys fell 24-22 Pacific. The final 3 drives for PLU with a chance to go down and score and win the game. PLU throws an interception, and they turn over the ball on downs. DJ, you got to explain what went on, because this is a game you guys shouldn't have lost.
No, it's not. And we always talk about the 60%. 60% of the games you're going to beat yourselves, and this is what that fell into. We had 6 trips into the red zone. We only scored on 3 of them. Like you said, our final 3 drives had a pick, and then a turnover on downs. Those 3 drives inside the red zone also ended on turnover on downs. One actually with a missed field goal, I believe. But those are points on the board, and that's 21 points we left out there in the red zone, which is not good. That's a 50% rate that you're scoring. In my opinion, if you realize that you're not scoring touchdowns, I know our field goal squad was a little shaky on Saturday, but I still believe we have to give our kicker a shot in kicking those field goals, because even with those 3 trips, if we make all 3 of those, that's 9 points. If we make 2 of them, that's 6 points. We only lost by 4. That's the difference in the game, and that is a win. But we've lost 2 games now, in which we have been close to scoring, and we've been right there. PLU was from the 6, Pacific was from the 10, and a total of 10 points combined is what we've lost. So, it was really frustrating. We just got to fix mental mistakes, and we got a big one this weekend. Homecoming, 1 o'clock p.m. at Sparks Stadium against Whitworth, who is coming off of 2 losses, disappointing ones. But if we can fix our mental mistakes going forward, that will be a big key into how our season will play out.
I get frustrated with hearing about how the football team is, no matter what the year is, I guess, 3 plays and 5 yards or whatever it is away from being, 3-0 or 2-1 or whatever it gets to. And I know that you're probably the same way, DJ. So
yeah, there's a trend, as you can see. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything else.
I feel, Seth, you got thoughts on the PLU football game, just looking at these numbers and kind of seeing that it's one that they probably should have won. So
not only is it the points left up on the board when you have those drives that get to the red zone and then you miss a field goal or you turn it over, but it's just got to be a momentum killer, right, DJ? I mean, to be driving the ball, you're feeling good, and then all of a sudden, bam, now you're on defense instead.
And momentum is such a big part of football. We also talk about, Big Mo, and you lose Big Mo when you get all the way down there. You either A, can't finish a drive, or you can't get points on the board and a field goal. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, you homecoming this weekend. You said game at 1 p.m. at Sparks. Who do you have again?
Whitworth.
That should be a good one. It's going to be a tough test for you guys. But you guys got a little bit to fix and head in there and play a good game.
A must win if we want to stay in the playoff picture.
I would agree with that, yes. Let's bounce over to PLU women's soccer. They played 2 games at home this past week. They scored often against George Fox. PLU women beat George Fox 5-0 on Saturday. And then on Sunday, they squeaked past Lewis and Clark 1-0. So pretty solid weekend for the women's soccer team. You guys have takeaways from that?
I would like to point out, again, the stat that I pointed to last week, in that they have only allowed 2 goals in this entire season. So 12 games, and they've allowed a grand total of 2 goals.
Not that bad.
Yeah. And on Saturday, Michaela Grady had 2 goals, along with Leah McGee, who also had 2 goals. So you got 4 goals with that duo. And we outshot the Bruins 15-8 for shots on goal. So we were able to capitalize on our opportunities and then finish most of them. With the Lewis and Clark game, soccer is a weird sport, in my opinion. You can do really well one game, and then you come back and play a team that that's not very good, and they can kind of hang around. And I think that's where soccer is, in quote-unquote, weird, in my opinion. Maybe that's not the best choice of words, but...
And if you want a testament to that, DJ, just look at the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah, exactly.
There's it.
I feel like, soccer, there's not one team that dominates. Like, any team can beat anybody on any given day. And that's kind of what we saw even though that Lewis and Clark didn't pull it out, we squeaked one goal out by Liz Griffith, and Lewis and Clark was only 2-7 coming into this. But you know what? PLU got the win, and that's all that matters.
Let's move on to volleyball. Volleyball played a kind of a different schedule this week. They had Puget Sound during the week. They swept them 3-0 over at Puget Sound. And then George Fox was in town Friday night for a volleyball game, and they got swept 3-0. So volleyball's rolling right now. A lot of fall sports doing really well.
Yeah. PLU actually goes over to Whitworth this weekend, battle of the first place teams. And, both of these were won pretty handily. PLU beat UPS 25-13 in the first set, 26-24 in the second, and 25-16 in the third. So, those first and third sets, we really didn't have any competition, and more of the same in the George Fox. Shout out to Danielle Skeebel, Northwest Conference Offensive Player of the Week. She had 18 kills total, which is an average of 3%, and 11 blocks. So,
George Fox, so
yeah, shouts out to her.
Yep, and then we'll wrap things up here in the opening segment. Let's talk men's soccer. They played one game this weekend. It was a double overtime thriller against Puget Sound. 1-0 was the score. Bennett Bugby fired home the game winner late in double overtime, and you guys already know how I feel about that one. That made me pretty happy. So,
Seth?
Well, I believe that's their second double overtime win in a row. So,
yes.
I mean, the wins are great, but I'd appreciate it if they could do that before the overtimes. But
yeah,
ultimately, the end result is good, so I can't complain.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then RJ Knoll was the Northwest Conference Defender of the Week with 5 critical saves. Pretty even game throughout from what I read in Christian's great post-game recap. And, we were finally able to break through in the second overtime with a goal by Bennett.
Yeah, and like I mentioned before, PLU is 4-0 so far in the Battle of the South Sound, with men's soccer, women's soccer, volleyball, and football all beating Puget Sound this year.